they will have this American crew and a very strong lineup again from outside Europe showing up. So, yeah, brilliant race for us to bring you now.
And in lane 1 from Ireland, Aoife Casey and Margaret Cramen. In lane 2 from New Zealand, Shannon Cox and Jackie Kittle. In lane 3, the world champions from Great Britain, Emily Craig and Imogen Grant. Last minute word to one another there from the USA. In lane 4, Michelle Setcher and Molly Reckford. In lane 5 from Canada, one of only 2 boats to qualify for Canada at the Olympic Games, along with their women's 8, Jill Moffat and Jennifer Casson. And in lane 6 from China,
Ireland,
Zhou
New
and
Zealand,
Chi.
Great Britain.
Well, here we go, we're getting the call over. Seeing Emily Craig back behind Imogen Grant. Emily Craig missed the European Championships. Great Britain double, missed the podium, missed the top of the podium, which is where they're used to being. Now they're up against this American double. As we see Imogen Grant there in the stroke seat, getting away nicely. It's the Canadians who did actually race at the World Cup 1. They've been in Europe ever since Varese. I'm really happy for them to see them get a really smooth start. They had a tricky start at Varese, one of those things you just don't want to happen to you, and it's the Canadians who are actually leading out. Obviously they've been working on starts while they've been in Europe.
We saw there Zhou and Chi from China, closest to us, just struggling to match the pace early on in this race. But a huge start here from Britain in lane 3. They're the world champions. They won at World Cup 1 in Varese. They are certainly the crew to beat. But as you say, Greg, the Canadians, they were 4th at the World Championships last year. They were 5th at the World Cup in Varese, but they've had a fast start here. But don't take your eyes off the USA. They're down a little bit at this early stage of the race, but I have no doubt that they will feature as we go through the stages of this race. But I think this combination from Great Britain, Emily Craig, Imogen Grant, such a class act. Britain's on a bit of a streak today so far, Greg. 2 wins so far in the men's pair and the women's 4. Are we looking at a 3rd for GB?
Well, we don't want to go too early. Emily Craig back in that bow seat. It was Liv Bates who stepped out of the single scull to race in the lightweight double at those European Championships. Great Britain there with about half a length, as you can see. But it's New Zealand alongside them. Jackie Kittle, the experienced one, been in the crew since 2017, backed up by Shannon Cox, only in her 2nd season. Jackie Kittle gave us a nice little bit of intel on their journey over to Europe that the New Zealand team took. You realise just what they need to put themselves through, the 36 hours of travel that, of course, the crews from the other side of the world could still be experiencing. So that might be in their legs a little bit. And that New Zealand double, I think, is doing well, whatever's in their legs, to be half a length back on the world champions from Great Britain. In the centre of the course, we had that crew from the US, Sesha and Reckford, silver medalists in Belgrade, silver medalists also in 2022, behind Great Britain. They will want to push their way up towards the front of the podium. It's Great Britain hanging on to that lead, New Zealand going with them right now.
And just slipping back into 5th position, Ireland on the far side of the course in lane 1. They were the bronze medalists from 2022 in this event, placing 5th last year at the World Championships, just struggling to get themselves into this race here. But the Kiwis, fastest moving boat on the course, just sitting 5 metres down, so about half a boat length off the British.
Yeah, that Irish crew haven't quite been able to recapture that form, that bronze medal from 2022. They were 7th last year in Belgrade. Mags Kremen actually came out and raced in the single at the European Championships. Now again restored with Aoife Casey. Seeing what they've got against the rest of the world, that have been pleased to be in this final. But what they're finding is that the rest of the race is just starting to ease away. You can see that position check at halfway. It's Great Britain with that lead over New Zealand. It's getting slightly bigger. Imogen Grant in that stroke seat, backed up by Emily Craig. Will want to see that lead getting bigger in this third quarter.
And Jackie Kittle, of course, world champion in this event in 2019. So she's been there, she knows what it takes. And now this pairing with Shannon Cox is starting to prove its speed. They're currently sitting up on the Americans, who are sitting in third, who are now being challenged by the Canadians, Greg.
Yeah, the Canadians hanging in here pretty well. As we look now again at Great Britain, they just kind of look so smooth. There's very little that you would see that they do that in any way slows the boat down. Everything they do is about being long, it's about being connected. And that's why it works so well for that British double. The New Zealanders, as we see them beside them, yeah. Shannon Cox in that bow seat. As I say, it doesn't look quite as clean. It looks like they're working just a little bit harder. Jackie Kittle in the stroke seat. They were 5th in Belgrade, so this is a good move on for the New Zealanders. We're looking now at this American double. Michelle Sesha in the bow seat, Molly Reckford with her. They're looking to make a move. Everyone's pretty much doing the same thing. Everyone's at 37 or 38 strokes a minute. The positions are pretty much as they were. If anything, the gaps are just getting slightly bigger. Let's see what's happened in this third 500. You can see it was half a length at 1,000. It's now 2/3 of a length to Great Britain. Still a little bit of clear water. America trying to hold off Canada. And then this Chinese double look like they're definitely back in 6th place, and that the Irish would have to do something very special to force their way towards a medal.
Well, no doubt about the race leaders, the world champions from Great Britain, but they are having a huge challenge here from the Kiwis. The experience of Jackie Kittle, former world champion in this event, and the pairing with Shannon Cox really finding some fantastic speed. Really interesting what's happened with this American double, because of course they won the silver back in 2022. Josie Verdonschot purposely split up the combination last year, and we saw Michelle Secher take the silver medal in a different pairing, and we saw Molly Reckford go into the women's quad. Now they've come back together and they're sitting in bronze medal position here.
We're getting this lovely picture here from above, and you can see that Great Britain crew pretty much holding that gap. The graphic shows you it as well. It's now 10 meters from the New Zealanders. The New Zealanders will be desperate to do something, but you can see it's only 38 strokes a minute. And this is a situation the British know all too well. They're coming down towards the line. It is a little bit of clear water over the New Zealanders. The Canadians here will be desperate to close that gap. They're sprinting. They are using rate. They're up to 43 strokes a minute. Be trying to close in on the Americans, but we're coming down towards the line now.
They're coming down to the line, and the world champions showing why they are the crew to beat coming into Paris. They now have clear water over the New Zealanders. Jackie Kittle and Shannon Cox, they're going to come through and take the silver. The bronze medal will be the Americans, but overlapped with the Canadians into 4th. The Irish missing out as well, coming in 5th, and China will come in 6th, but what a tight race.
Was a tight race. Big finish from the Irish in the last 500, but I'm afraid the race was too far ahead of them. I mean, real relief, I think, for Emily Craig and Imogen Grant to put the combination back together and find themselves back in that position at the front of the field. So really, I suppose, extending their unbeaten run that goes right back from 2022 when they put the combination together. A good first step after that journey that we followed on Instagram, that Jackie Kittle and Shannon Cox and the rest of the New Zealand team have made to get here. And then, yeah, a solid start really for the Americans, but yeah, not able to perform quite to the level of the American sweep team, of really surprising the rest of the world with what they've been able to bring. But a solid bronze medal, I think, ahead of that Canadian double. Canadian double have been in Europe. They've been finding lots of people to play with. They kind of stayed in Varese after that regatta and were looking for other people who they could do starts with, who they could train with. And apparently they've had quite a decent time of meeting different people and enjoying their time in Europe. Of course, they couldn't race the European Championships because it was only for European crews.
I don't know about that, Greg. I think if Australia can enter the Eurovision, surely the European Championships are up for grabs. But
let's hear it for our medalists.
Applaus für die